Yeah, I'm gonna see you. Yeah, we're live now. Hey guys, I'm spending an evening with Kenny Hardin. I'll let others get on before we move forward. Whoever comes on first, if you can give me a thumbs up. Miss Tanny Reddick, how you doing? Can you give me a thumbs up to let me know that you can hear me? If you can hear, give me a thumbs up. Everybody's popping on, but I hadn't gotten a thumbs up yet. If you can hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, can you give me a thumbs? Okay, that was a thumbs up. Okay. All right, guys. Well, Alicia Brandon, Pat Jones, Kevin Weisinger, Fraser Beatty, Marilyn Miller, Marlon, Glenn Taylor, Tanny. Okay. You guys are popping up. Good deal, man. Hey, guys, I'm here at the Perfect Smoke with good friend. I still call him Councilman Kenny Hardin. I chat with Kenny. What's up, Doug? Doug Paris in the house.
What's up, man? That's my man.
Yeah.
What's going on,
I chat with Kenny, probably once a week, man. Stay in contact with him, man. Just always asking him how's the good life, because he's living a good life about now. Doug said, what's up? And so anyway, I wanted to get him out of the house tonight. I reached out to him tonight, told him I'd be at the Perfect Smoke, smoking a stick. But I wanted to get him out, not only get him out, but I wanted him to maybe give some recap on, how the election went in his eyes, and, his thoughts about, those who are serving on the city council, and also, some of the things that he's doing in his spare time. So Kenny, man, I appreciate you coming on.
No problem, man. You called me if I hadn't even gotten dressed today. But we had a good conversation earlier today, so I was like, yeah, let me get out. This is the first time I've really been out, about 3 months.
Wow, man, it's good to have you, man. Good to see you living a good life. Well, let's get right into how are you spending your spare time now?
Relax. Man, me and my dog Bandit, everybody probably remember Bandit. Just taking it slow, taking it easy. I'm spending a lot of time with my boys, and just spending time at the house. Did a wonderful, wonderful presentation with Carolyn Logan. Dr. Bird reached out to me from Winston-Salem State, and went up there and talked to a public policy class. I've been helping some individuals with some professional development, but otherwise, real low key. Real low key. I got off social media, shut down a lot of things. Went from about 600 names in my phone to, I think I'm at about 28 numbers, and just taking it easy. I put a lot of time in, sacrificed a lot of things, health. So I've really just been trying to focus on my health.
Wow. Hey, Kenny, I know that, your son's doing some great things, man. I know Jared has been contacted not only by the Panthers, but the Falcons as well. And you got Kendall up in Chapel Hill.
Right.
So how does it feel being at home with your family?
Well, it's a little different because this will be the first time in 30 years I've actually been home. The holidays were great, spending time with the boys, spending time with family, and just really taking it low key. I mean, I have really gone in a different direction. And one thing I said, it's time for somebody else to carry that water, man. And, I've even yesterday, I was in Walmart yesterday morning, and people are still approaching me, which is nice. I still get phone calls. I still get people approaching me. And a lady stopped me in Walmart this morning. I don't know who she was, yesterday morning, and was asking if I was going to get back out there, if I was going to run again, if I'm going to be involved. And I just told her I'm transitioning to another part of my life, and all of that's behind me.
Wow. Okay. Well, first of all, man, I'm glad you're in good health and good spirit. Let's kind of dive right into, some of the recap that took place during the election, man. In your first bid for city council, what do you feel? What were your accomplishments? What were your goals? And then did you seek and solidify what you started out to do?
I think so. In spite of all the things that I had to fight against and the lack of support on the council, I think I did accomplish I think I brought an awareness, a transparency, an openness. I think I exposed a lot of things the way that things work. From my understanding now, people are not getting as much information. But I wanted to really focus on the undervalued, underserved, underrepresented, those who typically don't get the attention. And I wanted to bring people to the council. So I think I was successful in spite of being constantly fought against by colleagues on the council, disrespected. I still think I made a good headway, and people still call me, people stop me when I'm out, and they tell me that they really got an understanding of how the council works. There were some disappointments that went in, but the medical coding, forklift, the carpentry program, that's up and going. I was able to get that done and build some good relationships. There was a lot of subversion that went on, a lot of fake people, a lot of people that kind of would smile in your face and go and do one thing. And that was disappointing through this second campaign because, you know, Sif, initially, I was not going to run.
Right.
And then after all that debacle, which I still am not happy with Karen Alexander about her labeling the Black community as somehow having a propensity towards violence and just really disrespecting the Black community. And what was even more disrespectful, nobody seemed to step up and be upset or angry about it. So that's why I kind of came out and ran. But I was really disappointed in the way that particularly communities of color, communities that were economically challenged, did not get the courtesy, nor did they get the respect, but we didn't have all of these so-called Black leaders up fighting at all. And then you got people through the second campaign, which was really disappointing. And again, people have come to me, Sif, and shared a lot of things with me. I'm not so ego-centered, or I'm not so naive to think that it was going to be a cakewalk. But it was really disappointing when you had other Black candidates who were going out undermining you and criticizing and telling people don't vote. And you got pastors that are going out saying we got to unseat Kenny. And you've got leadership and this again is things that have been reported to me. You've got leadership at Livingstone College that's telling the students not to vote. And you've got the Salisbury Post, that garbage newspaper, that 2 weeks before the election, they write an article. There's 13 people running. They focused on me and Todd Harris. So that was disappointing that I didn't have the perceived support. And then I asked these Black folks that went out, and you got people like PJ Ricks, who just got her ass played. She got played. If you think back, who did they say the country club said they wanted to win? Brian, Karen, Tamara, PJ, and David. Who didn't get in there? PJ. Her dumbass looks really about stupid right now. And she allowed herself to be manipulated. She allowed herself to be played. And we've got to do better at that. And that's what was really disappointing. So I asked all of these Black people, I'm out here fighting for the community. I'm out here fighting for the underserved, underrepresented. And you're upset because I use harsh language, that I may cuss. You're not going to vote for me because I talk harshly too. Well, how did that work out for you? Wow. What did Black people win? We're 153 years removed from slavery, and everybody's excited about a first Black. Wow. We shouldn't even be celebrating first and only, at this time. So, good luck to people that are out there, but we have got to, if we're going to make any collective headway culturally, we've got to quit knuckling under, subverting real leadership. We've got to quit trying to prove how passive and docile we can be. We got to quit showing how much we can compromise and not demanding anything from anybody else. What resources are they giving to these challenged communities, economically challenged? I'm not just saying the Black communities, but since we're talking, what are you getting? let you march. They're going to let you plant a peace bowl. They're going to let you talk about racism. But when you talk about financial equity, they don't want to hear that. So where is the equity that's out there? So all of these people now that are jumping up, where's your body of work? Where's your voice? What are you fighting for? So at this point, you know, we've got a lot of work that we need to do, but I'm not upset about the election at all, because my health, I had started experiencing some significant health issues, and it gave me the opportunity to exhale, take a break, and get my health. I made a lot of sacrifices. I made a lot of sacrifices with my family, income, health, and I'm getting all of that back now. So I'm in a good spot. I love the fact that people still want me to be involved when I go to Walmart, when I go out to restaurants, people calling me. I love the fact that people still care. I appreciate Carolyn Logan, Myra Mills, Derek Sims, Mrs. Evans, of course you, people that still reach out to me and talk with me. There are a whole lot of people that I couldn't get out of my face when I was on council. Where those people been?
Speaking of Ms. Sims, she said, thanking you often, Mr. Hardin. Keep you and your family in prayer. Continue doing.
That's a beautiful lady, man. She was really good to me. And I'm not coming across as negative, because I had a lot of support. I had a lot of people. I was out at Rowan Hospital. A young lady stopped me out there. And I think people see that there's an absence and void of real leadership in this city. And so I appreciate the people like Miss Sims and others who, you know, reach out and who call. I probably haven't been as there. I know people have wondered why I got off Facebook, why I got off Messenger, why I got off social media. I haven't changed my phone number. Nothing's changed. My email is still the same. But I think it's time for somebody else to step up. But, you know, again, we can't buy into the hype. If we're going to be leaders, be leaders. But show me your body of work. Don't show me I ran for political office and that somehow means that I'm somehow a leader now. What have you stood for? What have you sacrificed for? What have you actually built? You know, I don't go back on my resume, but I remember Philip Brown and I back in 1995, 96 exposed the Parks and Recs Department for their failure to put money into the West End, Miller Rec, and Kelsey Scott Park. I can give you a litany of things that I have sacrificed, my reputation, my health, my things. We got people up here now make a speech and act like hell they ought to get an award for it. What have you done? You got people out here that will say, well, you know, Kenny talks too harsh, or Kenny talk. I talk to get the job done. Damn if I step on your toes. As long as I'm getting the job done, I can give a damn how you feel about it.
Wow. Doug Parrish says, so true, Kenny. As soon as you get elected, everyone acts like you're your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of, you know, we're talking about elections. Speaking about, I think that, you know, strategy goes into anything that we do.
Right.
Was there any strategy pre-election in your first term and going into your seeking an election for the second term?
I think it was more cohesive during my first term, but there was definitely no strategy in the second term. I also got a call that say Greg Edds, who is just as full of shit as they come. Greg Edds preaches all that unity and you know, let's come together. Greg Edds is full of shit. And you know, I was told that he had several meetings with Country Club where their whole strategy was, how do we keep Kenny from getting back in office? So you couple that with the lack of cohesion and strategy in the Black community, but you got other communities organized. My thing is, why was everybody so focused on defeating me? Right. So run your campaign. But when you got other people that are out saying Black people, we didn't come together. We settled for, again, we can only have one Black on city council. What is that? I mean, if we're 52.9% of the population people of color, we had more than one black candidate run. Why did we only get one seat? Again, you're marginalized when you do that. So, you know, people have to stop feeling like that they're getting something out of saying, well, I'm the only black this, I'm the only black. No, you do nothing by being the only. I don't subscribe to that. You know, Sif, 3 times, man, when I was on council, I had people come to me from the white community and say, Kenny, you're the most important black person in this city. You're the leader of the black community. No, I'm not. And I told them, don't come to me with that mess, because that is a strategy and a tactic to do nothing but marginalize and divide. And I was not going to fall into that. But you got some black people that they think that that is something that they should wear as like a crown or something. I saw that as limiting, because all you're trying to do is set me aside from this group to this group to this group. I never fell for it. But you had so many people that refuse to stand up and let their voice be heard. And, you know, I told people the biggest problem too, Sif, is Craig Pierce told me this, and Craig's a good dude, man. Craig told me this. He said the biggest problem with people is once they get elected, they start running for re-election. Right. I never cared about that, because I'm going to be okay. My ego and self-worth and value was never tied to a political office. I got in it to help people and to make a change. And I told people, if you don't want to vote for me because of something I said, don't vote for me. But it's disappointing when you have people that go out and strategize to undermine you, but then stand up and say, oh, I care about, you know, the underprivileged. I care about the economically challenged. I care about the black community. And you don't see them people but every 2 years. And then these so-called black leaders, you don't ever see them in the community unless they trying to get an award or something like that. Then hell, everybody wants to step up. And I have never, besides, you know, the one award from the VA, which I appreciated, I've never wanted an award. I'm out here not trying to get recognition or build a legacy or build my reputation. I cared more about the underserved and undervalued. So now, in the interim, since November, my biggest concern that I've had since then is not letting that hawk that sits across the street from my house get my little dog. That's as much as I got to worry about right now.
But you know, the thing is, man, I've always wanted to know what the definition is for a black leader. Because I don't understand why someone would subscribe to that box of definition. Because the thing is that I don't want to be your leader. I don't want to lead anyone. Right. Because if you're leading someone, then ultimately you're saying that I have some type of power.
Well, even take it a step further, Sif, and I asked my colleagues when I was on the council, who is the leader of the white community, the Hispanic community, the Vietnamese community, the Latino community? Why is it that the black community has to have one person that's going to lead them somewhere? We're not an infantile group of people devoid of individual thought that only one person can articulate the thought and direction. Everybody needs to be a leader, and we need to stop saying that. But we also need to stop putting qualifiers on it. When you say that I'm a leader, oh, okay, I'm going to motivate, inspire. But when you have to put the qualifier on it that, well, he's the black leader. So wait a minute, I thought I got elected to the city council for Salisbury. But everybody wants to put, because then that way they don't have to see themselves on the same level as you. And I go back, just like I said, some of these other people like Greg Edge and some of these other people, people talk to me. I don't buy into that. But see, you can't stand up to me and tell me you care about the black community, and then you go behind my back and debase me and everything about the black community. Right. Don't tell me that's leadership. Don't tell me you're a leader, whether you're a pastor or whoever, but you refuse to acknowledge and speak up on the indignities and inequity that exist in this city. Now, it was interesting to me, which, like I said, I don't read the Salisbury Post, But I saw back in November that everybody was up in arms about this gay pride float. Okay, people, I saw it in the Charlotte Observer, I saw it on the Charlotte News. All these so-called black leaders spoke out and was upset. Tell me one thing these so-called black leaders got upset about for the black condition. I never heard anybody speak up. Now, save Carolyn Logan and a few other people, but our priorities are misplaced. We try to act as if we want to prove so much. You don't have to worry about me saying I'm willing to be passive and docile and oh Lord, that Kenny Hardin, no, I don't have nothing to do with him because damn all of that. What have you spoken up for on the black condition? Nothing. And we refuse to do that. And that's something that I don't understand. What I told the city manager one time is I don't want anything unique, different, more, additional. If you're going to give it over here on the West End too. That's all I want. So, and then I asked people, I said, okay, how many times did I cut anybody off on city council? How many times did I disrespect anybody? How many times did I yell? How many times did I denigrate an entire culture of people like Karen Alexander did while I was on city council? I fought for what was right. I've still got people over at the college that are upset. Dr. Jenkins said that I cost the school money by me speaking up when they had that riot. I said, no, 200 students rioting cost you money. I didn't have anything to do with that. But yet I got criticized. But I have not heard anybody speak up for anything for the black community. But we'll jump up and speak out and go to fight for and do and not speak. How many people besides Carolyn Logan and a few other ones saw everything I endured for the last 2 years? Who spoke up? Who made their voice heard?
Speaking of some of the initiatives that you had set forth while you were in the council, one in particular, I think that you had allocated funding for a project on the West End. I think it was in conjunction with Growing Community College.
Right.
What did that ever get off the ground while you were in office?
Well, there were two things that and I can't take credit for, but I'll talk about the first one because I was very disappointed. Craig Pierce and I sat down and we talked about a program where we would have the school board, the county, and the city collaborate on an effort where we would take 5 houses a year times 3 years on the West End. We would tear down dilapidated houses and we would rebuild 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses for 4 teachers and a police officer. And we would only charge $200 a month. Well, couldn't get Dr. Moody on board with it, so that went away. I was really disappointed because that could have turned that entire community around. I fought about houses that have been boarded up on the West End for 30 years. Why are we not using money to push to get these dilapidated houses torn down and new houses built? When I first got on council, I asked for $150,000 for a program where we would teach free classes in brick mason, carpentry, medical coding. It took 2 years. I don't know why the city drug their feet, but it did get off the ground. I was really disappointed that we had people that really tried to subvert our efforts to get a Boys and Girls Club. We had people like Ed Norval and the guy from the YMCA and the United Way. People were trying to say Kenny's the big bad wolf, but I had a lot of people that were working against, what we were trying to do. Well, from my understanding, we had a committee, we had a group, we had the Boys and Girls Club going, even though we had people working against us. And I'll throw this in there too, Steve. 2 times, they tried to take Miller Rec away from the community. Tried to take it. Did not alert the community, did not alert me. I'm the liaison for Parks and Rec. I never knew about this stuff. But from my understanding now, a lot of the programs that the Boys and Girls Club wanted to do, the city's taking them over now, and I'm actually going to do them. So I think that was kind of an undercut and an undermining. And again, I was told we can't have a Boys and Girls Club because it would take money away from the YMCA. With all of this crime that is still continuing in this city, can you tell me we don't need a Boys and Girls Club and a YMCA? But that goes back to my earlier point. Who's going to fight? Everybody else just wants to kiss their ass and go, oh, well, Kenny was this and we don't need this. No, I wasn't going to sit there and kiss anybody's ass for a check or for $1.
Right. Why do you think that you got so much opposition? I mean, and I don't put stereotypes on anyone, but you've worked in the corporate life for many years. I mean, you're well educated, you're spoken well. I mean, you don't seem to be in the eyes, if I on the cuff, to be a threat. But why were you met with so much opposition?
When you can't attack the message, you attack the messenger, and you attack the character of the messenger. And people in Salisbury, this is not the first time, people in Salisbury, especially in the Black community, are so conditioned and act like they're so scared to speak up and fight for what we deserve. We had this conversation in the barbershop. Shout out to my people at Addison's. We had a good conversation in the barbershop. And I'll answer your question this way. Why are we fighting for civil rights?
Civil rights is dead.
But I'm saying, why are we fighting for something that should be given to us at birth?
Right.
So nobody in